Camera's live.
Oh my God.
Did you know they made Velcro that it makes no noise? The military use it.
I'm waiting for the punchline.
No, literally. The military have Velcro. and that's what the movie Garden State is kind of about. One of the guys in there is the guy who made it. Have you ever seen Garden State?
Yes, did
you
not
hated
care
it.
for it. Yeah,
Yep. I knew it.
yeah. That was a bad film. Bad film.
I feel like a girl I liked in high school really liked it.
Oh, girls in high school liked Garden State.
I don't
Also-
think I ever saw it. I just remember a girl that I was into was like, it's like probably my top 10 movies ever, and I was like, then it must be great.
Yeah, people who like Garden State also like Iron and Wine and cutting themselves.
Okay. I don't know if she was into the third one, but the first two probably.
I might have to check out this movie then.
No, it's not going to solve your problems.
Iron and Wine might.
That one I have not seen, so I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's a band.
I've not heard them either then.
Or the Shins. Ooh, you could always listen to the Shins.
Or you could listen to us talk about My Hero Academia, which is what we're ostensibly here for.
Oh.
Although we can talk about
Presumably.
bad early 2000s movies for a while longer.
And somewhat decent early 2000s bands.
I'll
Trying to
take
think
your
of
word.
Early 2000s movies. What was the first movie you had on DVD?
The Matrix.
All right. It's not a bad one.
That
Wild
would have
Wild
been in my
West.
first 5. My first was The Exorcist.
Ooh, all right.
That's not a bad one.
Yeah.
Mine was Wild Wild West.
Nice.
That sounds about right. We had Wild Wild West too. I remember the menus for that one. Why do I remember the menus for that
Nobody
one?
was foolish enough to make a sequel to Wild Wild West.
Uh,
I got a DVD player really late. The first one that I purchased for myself was Pirates of the Caribbean.
See, I got rear-ended in my car, and the guy's insurance company cut me a $300 check, but the damages were all cosmetic, so I said, I'm buying a DVD player.
Yeah.
So I was an
I've
early
had those
adopter.
situations.
Yeah.
funny enough, my dad got a DVD player, but then I got my PlayStation 2 and it was better.
Yeah.
I mean, I got a PS3 real late because I wanted a Blu-ray player, and it was still, even that late in the day, like, yeah, there are cheaper Blu-ray players, but this is that, and I can play a couple games I missed.
A good call.
Guys, let's talk about My Hero Academia. Actually, let's talk about who we are. We haven't done that in a while. Hi, I'm Ben. I'm your host.
Hi, I'm Kaiser Scott, whatever.
I'm Grant. I don't normally get on these things, but I like My Hero enough that I decided to show up.
We all decided to show up. That was a choice that we made.
It feels like less of a choice every Monday, if I had to be honest.
My Hero Academia, episode 41. Everyone undergoes a grueling training schedule to strengthen their quirks through constant use. Small boy continues to hate superheroes. On the third night of camp, classes A and B have a spookiness contest out in the woods when the League of Villains attacks with poisonous gas. Cliffhanger. Not a whole lot happened.
You know, you say not a whole lot happened, but there's a lot kind of going on in this whole episode. It's not in service of moving the plot forward so much. There's a lot of, Deku talking to the kid, and then Deku talking to Todoroki about talking to the kid, and Todoroki being like, yeah, guess what, dipshit? You can, you cut to the heart of people's problems, which, for me, that worked. Yeah, you can't just talk to somebody and everything's okay. Like, that's not how it works, man.
They sure did a lot of talking to say that talking is not the answer.
Yeah.
Look, Deku, clearly talking's the only thing you get, so I'm going to tell you very long-windedly that, hey, sometimes actions speak louder than words.
Which, it's a good message. It's a good message considering that shonen is, propagated heavily upon these big outward speeches, but it's a little way to tell people, like, look, you can come up with any flowery sentiment that you want, but they're all just platitudes. You've got to show people, and I like that. I like that Todoroki just tells Deku, like, don't fucking do that. It's annoying, and you're probably just going to make things worse. So
I like that we got to see Class B show up for a little bit and actually do stuff. The idea of them being like, all right, we got here late. This is kind of weird. What's up? What's everybody doing? And then being like, hey, Class A is already doing their hard work training stuff, so we're just going to kind of throw you to this so you can figure it out. Do we ever find out the guy whose face is like a skull, what his power is? Like, what does he do? Because later up in the spookiness contest, he compliments someone else for being like the star of the spooky night. I'm like, you're like a skeleton man. How are you not terrifying everyone?
I would like to point out that we got the vigilante. What's it called? When a spinoff. The spinoff.
Yeah.
There's a vigilante spinoff of My Hero Academia. It's a comic. It's drawn by another guy. It's written by another guy with input from the mangaka of My Hero Academia. And it is nowhere near as interesting as a manga all about Class B. I want to see them. I want to know what their stuff's about, because every time they show up, I'm like, you're just in another class. I feel like these are the regular kids, the kids that don't have all this dumb bullshit going on, and that's got me really curious. Because as we see them here, they're not nearly as fucked up as the rest of them.
Yeah, I don't know. It was kind of interesting seeing some of these powers getting pushed to the limit.
Yeah.
Let's see just how much of this tape I can make. Woo, tape!
It is actually really cool, because the entire idea is that this is a training arc, and instead of episode after episode going into these things, they're just giving you these clip shows of like, yeah, by the way, this is what these characters are going to have to do. No, you don't have to watch all of it, because that would be boring.
I liked that everyone had like what seemed like training regiments that made sense. Like Todoroki's like, I'm sitting in this drum of water and I'm going to make it really hot and then I'm going to make it really cold, back and forth, just one right after the other. Bakugo's like, I dip my hands in boiling water to make my hands sweat really hot, and then I try to shoot as much fire out of it as I can to widen up my pores to make my fire have, a clearer exit. But then there's like the girl who has the headphone jack ears, and she's just using those to punch a rock. It's like, it makes her headphone jacks stronger.
And then there's Invisible Girl, who...
Be more invisible, please.
She's working on her stealth.
I also noticed they said about Todoroki, like, yeah, he's going to, try and balance his icy hot powers, and maybe someday he can use them both at the same time. Was he not doing that
No.
in the sports festival?
Yeah, he has always
No.
gone back and forth. It has always been he would use one and then the other. He has never been like, here's a stream of fire in one hand and a stream of ice in the other.
Yeah, he hasn't mastered the Avatar state yet, okay? But yeah, it was that was a big point, is that when he was switching, when he was fighting Stain, if you'll notice, he switches back and forth between his ice and his fire. He can't use both at the same time.
I will not notice, apparently, because I didn't. I could have sworn there was like one iconic shot where he uses the fire for the first time, and there's still ice for days over on the other side.
Well, it's because the arena was already frozen like around him because he had been using it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Seems like if he can switch that fast and seamlessly, seems like not a big limiting factor that he can't do both literally simultaneously. But
It's the whole rubbing your tummy and patting your head thing. It takes a bit of practice.
Look, leave it to a shonen writer to come up with some bullshit reason why using both at the same time would be like an extra awesome power, okay?
Also, Tokiomi gets to be great creepy in this with the whole... First, his training arc is just him in a cave and you just hear noises in there of him screaming to get his shadow under control when it goes wild. And then on top of that, just every single time they're like, hey, we got to do something tonight. And just revel in the night. And everyone concerned whenever he says it.
I love fucking Ochiko's response, and I was like, why does he keep saying that? Actually, this episode is full of great responses from people. Like when that brute tiger guy shows up, and he's like, I'm going to pummel all of you into shape. And there's one guy in the back, I have questions about him. The comedic timing in this episode is on point. And I don't know. I love the opening shot where it shows everybody training. This show is doing an amazing job with its storyboards. Like, unbelievably good at just packing so much into every shot.
It's also doing a good job of making me care about the characters who I previously did not really give much of a shit about. Like, seeing all these characters actually doing their workout stuff is making me, like, recognize them more. And, like, it might just be, like, a combination of that plus time. But if you had asked me to name off all the powers in Class 1A last season, I don't think I would have been able to. This one, I think I would get, like, upwards of 80 to 90% of them. Because they mostly are pretty memorable now.
They even made the guy with the tail look cool.
Yeah.
As he's fighting Kishima.
Every time he hits a hard point with his tail, both of their powers get better. It's all right.
Lots of sparring. Yeah, I don't know. I might seem kind of dismissive. I enjoyed this episode. I really did, but it just feels like there's not much to say because the big thing is at the end, oh shit, villains attack. Tune in next time for stuff actually happening.
Yeah, we get we get a little bit of a chat with Deku and the kid who hates heroes. I keep wanting to call him something that I know he's not, so I'm not going to try and guess. We find out who his parents were. Like, Deku offhandedly says, like, they were like the water hose heroes or something like that.
Yep.
And he's like, who told you? The classic give away your secret by claiming someone told them.
You just did.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's a name we've heard before or if it is just, flavor text for this moment, but
we've never heard their names before.
okay. But a little bit of a name drop there. They must have been someone somewhat prominent if Deku knew who they were. And also there's like a weird shot when Deku's hanging out with him at his cave and like, he drops off the curry because the kid's like, I don't want to hang out with you. I hate heroes. And walks away, and the kid's like mad, and then it pans to like a crater in the cave.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Yeah,
And I don't know if that's supposed to imply that the kid has super strength and he was mad and punched that, or if that was like ominous foreshadowing for something coming up.
Yeah, there's
And
a
if
crater
you-
in the wall, right?
Yeah. And if you obviously you have read ahead in the manga, if this is actually important or not, don't tell me.
I wasn't gonna. Trust me, I'm not gonna say anything.
But like,
No, you've been very good about
Yes.
letting us spin our wheels and not jumping in with well, actually.
yeah. But I just thought it was like weird that the camera focused on that shot for a little bit, and I don't know if it was just like artsy scene transition or if it's like remember this.
Yeah.
But either
No.
way, it threw off red flags in my brain.
I definitely noticed that too, and it definitely seemed like something that they were dropping for later.
Yeah.
Because if it had any obvious significance right now, I didn't get it.
But yeah, then it becomes time for spooky late night class scares, although unfortunately the remedial gang who failed their tests don't get to partake, thus leaving an uneven number of students, I believe, and Deku having to walk the trail by himself. But apparently it never comes to that because the exercise is interrupted.
I sort of wish we'd seen a little bit more of that. Like, how are these superpowered kids going to spook each other? That sounds interesting.
I really liked the Bakugo and Todoroki scare flashback. Like, did you see how freaked out they were? And the girl like pops out of the ground and they just go, ah. they like have like a little startled look. And the guy's like, I can't believe we got them so good. Like, it was a fun bit.
That is a cool idea, by the way. You were just gonna dress you all in white like one of those creepy ring girls, and then use my power to soften things, and just bloop, the head comes out. I can't remember if there was any more of that in the manga. I actually think there was a little bit more, but the fact that they obviously wanted to end this episode at this point, I think they cut a little bit of it. But still, it was really fun to see, and this is also a very Japanese thing, the whole test of courage. You'll see that in a lot of other shows about kids who go on camping trips and stuff. They're like, hey, let's have a test of courage and go out into the woods.
Yep. I mean,
It's ghost stories.
yeah, exactly. Seems like a fun camping out thing to do, and I sort of wish we'd gotten more of them. Just like, I like seeing these characters just hang out and be people.
I agree.
Yeah.
And that's one of my favorite parts about these last couple of episodes is that, I do feel like we are getting to know these characters a little bit more, and in good ways.
Yes.
I also love, I just like watching Bakugo try and interact with everybody when he blows up the the stove.
I'm so above this.
Also, Yaoyorozu being a total hypocrite. Hey, look, if you never learn how to actually start a fire on your own, you're just going to be in a situation where
you
you're
can't.
helpless, and then spawns a lighter.
I also like, speaking of her, when talking about her power, they're like, oh man, yeah, I have to eat because I use the lipids from my body and my food to create the things I make. And just take guys like, oh, so it's kind of like poop. Just the awkward, like, I mean, I guess.
Actually, that I won't talk about this as much. I'll try not to be the guy like in the manga. That's actually a great shot in the manga. Like, it still works really well in the anime. The timing in the manga is perfect for that shot, and I forgot about that joke entirely. So it's like, oh, so you mean like pooping? Bam!
Speaking of pooping, I didn't realize Naval Laser Guy, he says that like he gets stomach problems when he uses it, and like maybe I just wasn't trying to read between the lines. I assume that just meant it really hurt.
Yeah.
But there's like a porta potty in every shot of him training, so I assume it means it actually gives him the runs or something, or maybe makes him sick.
I think it's a matter of it does hurt a lot, and I'm not sure because maybe it does make him need to poop, which
Like, I guess works.
I feel like I'm 12. That's hilarious to me.
Just every time you shoot a big laser from your belly, you're like, all right, now I gotta shit. Hope this isn't needed in the heat of combat.
I guess Mineta isn't the one who needs the diaper.
Ah.
Yeah,
Also, Mineta doesn't get a line in this episode.
he winks at the camera, and you see him ripping his balls off his head to make him cry.
Yep.
Or make his head start bleeding.
Yep.
But
Does he not say like what's going on or anything when the villain starts showing up? I feel like they cut to him, but he might not say
Don't
anything.
think he really has a line.
Yeah.
Okay.
You might have. Yeah, no, I don't think he does. But speaking of the villains, who we got here? Frankenface.
Yeah, so we've got, okay, so I do not remember any of their names. We have Frankenface, we have Manic Pixie Girl, we have Lizard Dude,
Yes.
who looks kind of cool. We have the...
Slicks back his lizard hair.
We have Gas Mask Man, we have Voldo from Soul Calibur, and I think that's the team.
There was a cloak. There's like a cloak guy with like a mask, and we don't really get to see.
Yeah,
what he looks like.
we see him in the preview.
Yeah.
We only see a little bit of him at the end of the
Okay.
episode.
Yeah, they say there are going to be 10 of them there, and
Yeah.
I could not name 10 of them if I tried.
Yeah, yeah. We see an initial 7. Because they're like, all right, that makes 7 of us. They're like, all right, let's get going. Like, nope, we gotta wait for everybody. There needs to be all 10 of us. And maybe I am like just being cynical, but I look at this gang and I'm like, I think maybe 3 or 4 of you are gonna be recurring, and the rest of you show up for this and get subdued or thrown in jail or something.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't think all of those character designs will be sticking around personally.
Yep. Also, I don't know. They make a big deal about how, you know, the last time when we attacked the school, it was a whole bunch of lousy scrubs. This time we're sending in the elites, and I'm looking at these
Precision
guys
task
like,
force.
I don't feel like you're doing a good job of selling me on that. I sort of think that you've got what, 40 of these students. I think they can take you. I think they're gonna be fine.
We get like a little taste of what each, like not each of them, but what some of them can do. Frankenface seems to have like a blue fire thing, and might be making I think the poison gas guy is the one making the poison smoke, or maybe he's the psychic because someone telepathically pulls one of the pussycats into the woods and beats her up. But oh yeah, there's also the guy who's the. I feel bad because I don't remember voice actor names, and they don't display his power at all. But guy who is voiced by the same guy who is the clown in Yu Yu Hakusho has like a big pillar or something and like kind of longish red hair. I don't know. We don't really see what his power is, but he just kind of shows up and he's like, "Hey, what's up? I'm the voice of Suzaku." Also, bam.
See, I'm usually the guy who takes notes and knows what the hell's going on. You're remembering a lot more than I either remember or have written down.
Okay.
Because, yeah, it just throws all this stuff at you so fast, and then it's like,
I
yeah,
rewatched it last night because I thought I had forgotten everything, but it turns out just not a whole lot happened in this episode. So that might be why my memory's a little bit more fresh.
yeah.
I mean, it is. It
Yeah,
was
well,
cool.
you also didn't have 10 other shows to watch, so
That too.
I would love to have rewatched this episode. Not gonna happen. Not these first couple of weeks of the season, anyway.
It was cool to see the other 2 members of the Pussycats, so now we have all 4 of
Yeah.
them.
Yep.
Just fully working that Ginyu force.
Get all those poses out. Yeah, Deku's workout seems to be work out both of your arms and one leg because the one just seems to always stand there, and then his 2 arms go everywhere, and he bends one leg.
Some peripheral, what do you call it? Supplementary manga material. The big guy is apparently trans.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I thought that was kind of neat. Somebody would mention that to me on Twitter today and was like, "Hey, did you know?" And I'm like, "Oh, cool."
Now
So,
we do.
Yeah.
Yep. Do 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 do.
Yes.
So yeah, I don't know. I think they're all pretty fun so far. We haven't they've all been teachers so far. I'm hoping as we move forward, we'll actually get them in more of a combat role. Beyond that, I love this setup. Like I love the idea they strike in the middle of the night, and I love Frankenstein looking dude. So I'm trying not to say any spoilers, but I remember I loved this arc a lot. I don't remember a lot of the earlier stuff. So as I'm going back here, I'm like, oh right, that's when that happens, and then that guy shows up, and oh yeah, blue fire. That's so cool.
Well, I am also liking this. I hope it picks up a little, but I think that's also part of the problem of watching shonen and talking about it episode by episode is that you take a single episode of most shonen shows other than a few iconic moments, and you really got to watch a lot of it before it starts paying off. But I'm enjoying it. It's bright. It's colorful. I like it.
You have to watch almost the entire first season of My Hero Academia for the second season to be worth it. Not that the first season is bad, but a lot of people didn't get the hype. They didn't understand why do people like the show so much until the second season happened.
That was me.
Yeah. So I love this arc. I think it might be my favorite arc, and we're about to see like why. So I love this. They did a wonderful job. This is probably one of the best looking episodes just in terms of storyboard composition. Like everything about it was amazing, and I'm super excited.
I love to be a contrarian, but I can't because this episode was real good, I thought. Yes, not a lot of plot progression, but I loved the training segment. Like honestly, that might be one of my favorite scenes the show has had. Just I agree the panning around, the theoretical camera in this animation, wherever it was, always felt positioned to make every sequence, no matter how goofy what they were doing was, look cool. And I liked seeing just every character, from guy who gets to eat sugar and be really strong to kid who is screaming so he can talk to more animals at once. Like, everyone has like a goofy quirk, and then they have a quirky way to make that quirk better. And it just all worked out. And then we get like cool setup at the end. I love villain groups. Those are always my favorite things in anime and video games. So I'm psyched to get to know this group of baddies so I can have a rogues gallery to finally like really look at and point to for this show.
All right. Well, I think that's it for My Hero this week. Thank you, everybody on YouTube, everybody on Twitch, everybody on Patreon for joining us. Thank you, Grant, for joining us.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
I love this show.
It's a good show.